But when I was doing all of my, I was watching a bunch of videos on, do you know who Friedrich Nietzsche is?
Yes.
Yeah. I was going to say, of course, I'm sure you do.
Yeah. No. It's okay.
Yeah. So he talks like a ton about non-judgment, right? And there's that one really famous quote of his that says, for the people would often stare at the people dancing and think that they were crazy, but they just couldn't hear the music. And it's like, it's being authentic and not stopping your dance, right? Just because someone else doesn't understand it. And the narrator used like being gay as an analogy, and being gay in like a very religious family. And it's like, maybe they just can't hear your music, but that doesn't mean what you're doing is wrong, right? And then not to judge them either because you can't hear their music. And you just both, like, it's not trying to force anyone into your camp, because again, everyone's on their own path and they have to figure out where they're going and what's like their course, and just like staying true to yourself and not letting anyone else's negativity or judgment like take away from your happiness. And it's so much easier said than done, but it's like, if you're truly confident with who you are, who you are, and why you do the things that you do, and they're not in like a malice way, right? Like you're being yourself, but you're not hurting anybody else physically. It wouldn't matter. I find like anytime I would get reactive if someone judged me and be like, how dare you, or how dare you call me this, or how dare you criticize any decision I'm making, it was because I wasn't solid on my why. And then, you know what I mean? And I had to dig into that. And sometimes that's really uncomfortable, because if you're like, well, maybe I did this thing that society is saying is so bad and I don't know the answers to it, that could be a problem. So maybe I need to figure that out. And it has nothing to do with the other person usually.
Yeah. Oh, it's always that. That's why, like, often my husband will sometimes he'll ask me like, why do you do so much work? Or do you think you're broken? Like, he'll question me on this, and I'll say, no, it's because I know that by doing this, I understand myself better, which means that I can have better outcomes. I can have better relationships. Like, I can tell you, and you mentioned this earlier, when I met him, I spent the whole year after I left that first marriage just with myself. I was like, I need to know who I am, because I really don't know who I am. When I met him, I had reached a point where I felt ready to be with someone. But for almost like for a good year, I was good. And I was walking around, I'm never going to date. I never want to be with anyone. I was like so excited to just be with myself, and spent so much time getting to know myself and understanding myself. And I was surprised when I met him and fell in love, and I knew it right away. And it was challenging. Like, it wasn't like this any kind of fairy tale. It was challenging. The relationship's challenging, and we both continue to show up and we step up. And so much of it is a reflection, and so much of the relationship is me doing my work and hearing things that I might not want to hear. But my practice is reflecting on, how is this true? Which totally destroys the ego. Because if I hear something that isn't what I want to hear, I have to have the courage and the strength within myself to say, how is even, a version of this true, and take responsibility for how that is true, and come back to the table. And there's got to be like that openness and that willingness to go in, and you dissolve the right or wrong. But it starts with, for me, really, it started with finally understanding who I was. And that was I made that very clear. And even to this day, like, if I'm mistreated, I'm out. I have no obligation to anyone who mistreats me. Absolutely not. And so you kind of like, I was able to set a totally different level from which that was a foundation that started in me. It created a foundation for us. And that's the foundation that holds us every time we face a challenge.